Alright, so my introduction to radians and degrees is I showed you guys how to do that example. If I take the radius and I take the string and then eventually I go around, right? Mark off 6 sections and there's a little bit left. It was 6.28 if you add them all up. So that's 6.28 radians is equal to a circle is 360 degrees. So you can measure angles in both degrees and radians. How do you convert between degrees and radians or radians to degrees? There's this awesome proportion, and the way I remember it is the part over the whole equals part over the whole. That's what a fraction is. So a fraction is a simpler word for a ratio. So this is a ratio, this is a ratio, and when I set two ratios equal to each other, I get a proportion. Radians, or part of the radians over 2 pi, that's part over the whole, equals the degrees over 360, because there's 360 degrees in a circle. Let's do an example. How many radians are in 240 degrees? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write down the formula again. Always write down the formula. I can give you partial credit. Lets us understand if you are getting it. And then I recognize in the problem they want a question, they want to know how many radians, but what they've given me is 240 degrees. So now I can have 240 degrees. So radians over 2 pi equals 240 over 360. Simple penmanship. Making your degree sign small. Common mistake is to make that 2400 or 2400. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce this. So I have radians over 2 pi equals 240. I'm thinking to myself, what's the greatest common factor? I'm thinking of 120 times 2. And then 360 is 120 times what? 3. I cancel that, and now I'm left with radians over 2 pi equals 2/3. Now, I need to move this 2 pi over, so it's in the denominator, so I'm going to multiply by 2 pi on both sides. Remember, you can make 2 pi a fraction by just putting it over 1. And then you notice that my 2 pi's cancel. So I have radians equals, I'm going to multiply across. 2 times 2 pi is 4 pi. And 3 times 1 is 3. Now, pi, treat it like a variable, like x. Do not multiply by 3.14. Okay? So 240 degrees is equal to 4 pi over 3 radians. And that'll be our answer. So I just converted degrees into radians.